So today we're going to be giving Sergeant Pink a full clip. So you need to make sure that your horse is clean, so give it a quick brush before, a good brush, before you start to make sure all the mud and dirt is off the horse so the coat is nice and smooth. You can also give them a bath, which also helps the clippers glide through the hair a bit easier and they come up a bit nicer that way as well. And then with your clippers, so you get them out your box and you always oil the clippers before you start, and you always do this when they're not plugged in. I always oil the blades and then oil in that little hole as well, and then you tighten them right up until you feel a bit of resistance on the screw. And then with these clippers you turn them back one turn, but that might vary depending on which clippers you use. Plug them in. So before you start, you always want to introduce your horse to the clippers by just resting them on before you start clipping. And if they're okay with that, just quietly start clipping. When clipping low down, it is important to stay on your feet so that if the horse should move, you can move out the way quickly. When clipping, it's important to do nice long strokes and keep the pressure even throughout to make sure that you have as few lines as possible and that it's comfortable for the horse. It's also important to brush off your clippers and oil them regularly when you're clipping, just so they don't overheat and to just maintain the clippers. When it comes to your lines, you tend to try to follow the muscle line, and on the back legs, take your line from the top of the hamstring up to the stifle. When it comes to the fiddly areas like the armpit, it may be necessary to pick up a leg and pull it forward if your horse allows you to and it is safe to do so. Another very important thing to take note of is when you are clipping, if you have clippers with a wire, make sure the wire is always away from the horse's feet so that the wire cannot get stood on. Keeping the pressure smooth and even on the clipper blades when you're clipping a thoroughbred is ultra important because they're so thin-skinned and they quite often don't have a lot of coverage over the bony areas of their body. So making sure that you don't catch them is really important. Always clip against the way the hair grows, which means you may have to adjust the angle of your hand and the clipper blades when moving across the body of the horse. When it comes to clipping the head, if you're not sure how the horse will react, it's important to test the clipper somewhere discreet, like under the chin, as sometimes the feeling of the blades against the bone can upset them.